let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really highly publicized campaign trail interview with Senator Pauline Hanson, right ahead of the critical FARA by-election. We're going to take a completely impartial look at the source material to figure out exactly what her policy focus is, specifically when it comes to regional small businesses, and we'll unpack how she's navigating all those surrounding media controversies on the ground. Whether you follow regional politics super closely, or you just want to get a better handle on modern campaign tactics, there is a whole lot to unpack here. So let's get right into it.
Right off the bat, the interview tackles the elephant in the room, the seriously high-profile optics of Senator Hanson arriving in a multi-million-dollar private jet. But instead of deflecting, her response is completely unapologetic. She proudly states that she was upfront right from the very beginning about exactly where the money came from and who donated it. It really sets a direct, no-nonsense tone for the rest of the conversation.
All right, moving to Section 1, Pitching to Small Business, taking a look at the core economic message of the One Nation campaign. The crucial point she makes is anchored by this staggering number, 50,000. Hanson claims that approximately 50,000 small businesses have gone under and become insolvent. She argues forcefully that these business owners have essentially been totally forgotten by the major political parties for a really long time. It's a move designed to perfectly position her platform as the necessary alternative.
And the source details a very specific cocktail of pressures that Hanson states are driving these businesses into the ground. We're talking about the rising cost of living, heavy regulation spanning local, state, and federal governments, high electricity costs that just make basic operations unaffordable, increased land taxes, and incredibly complex industrial relations laws. It's this exact combination of factors that she firmly believes the major parties are simply failing to listen to.
So, how does she use this grim economic picture? Well, Hanson uses this backdrop to officially endorse the One Nation candidate for FARA, David Farley. By framing him specifically as a dedicated man and a businessman, she argues his background perfectly equips him to understand these exact economic pressures. She insists that this ensures he'll bring real, tangible benefit to the community and to Parliament, expressing absolutely no doubt in his ability to win and hold the seat.
Which brings us to Section 2, Scuffles and Gutter Politics, Navigating Campaign Trail Frictions and Populist Messaging.
Now, things get a bit heated when she's questioned about a recent, highly publicized polling place scuffle involving a One Nation volunteer and other candidate allegiances. But Hanson absolutely doesn't back down. After reviewing the full video footage of the incident, because initially she'd only heard partial reports, she fully supports him. In fact, she insists she even intends to meet him and shake his hand.
Hanson actually uses this friction to draw a razor-sharp contrast for her broader populist strategy. On one side, she lumps together the major parties, Labor, the Greens, and the Teals, accusing them of playing a dirty game and engaging in gutter politics while totally ignoring the voters. On the flip side, she positions One Nation as standing completely above the fray, focused entirely on representing the people who are, in her words, screaming out for change. It's a very clear, deliberate contrast designed to distance her party from establishment tactics.
Let's look at Section 3. Campaign Trail Logistics. This covers the controversies surrounding a canceled election party venue.
Looking at how this specific dispute unfolded, it becomes a classic he said, she said situation between the campaign and a local hotel. According to Hanson's perspective, there was initially just a verbal agreement, but then she claims the venue costs completely blew out from what was originally quoted. The hotel, meanwhile, claims they were only notified of the cancellation on Tuesday. That leaves them just 4 days prior to the event with unused stock and staffing plans. Currently, Hanson states she is still gathering the facts, and an internal check is pending to figure out exactly who changed the arrangements.
But here is where she brilliantly attempts to tie the logistical mishap back to her core messaging. Drawing on her own past as a small business owner, Hanson acknowledges the venue's potential losses. She states, "I can quite understand. If that be the case, I do feel sorry for the venue if they've had to do anything with buying food or get staffing." So, while she maintains she needs more information, she uses the moment to project empathy for the exact same small business struggles she is actively campaigning on.
Towards the end of the interview, she gets a pretty pointed question. Is this FARA by-election simply a personal test run for her own future lower house tilt? Well, Hanson quickly and outright denies this. Instead, she flips the narrative entirely. She turns it back on the political establishment by calling this election a test run for every other sitting lower house member in the country. It's a clever deflection that really reinforces her overall message of an impending, broader voter backlash. To wrap up this explainer, we are left with a massive question to ponder as Election Day approaches. How will this unique mix of populist, small business-focused policy, combined with the totally unavoidable noise of campaign trail controversies, actually resonate with fairer voters at the ballot box? Will this highly targeted economic messaging actually cut through the surrounding media drama in what is a historically conservative stronghold? It is a genuinely fascinating dynamic, and we are just going to have to wait for the voters to decide. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep asking the right questions.